first B-Day stream, okay? None of you wish me happy birthday yet. Let's pause. Let's pause and give me a little happy B-Day. A Feels birthday, man. Would that be too much to ask? A Feels birthday. Thank you. Thank you. Happy birthday, Twitch Jesus. That's moist critical. Cracking a liquid death on your birthday. 34 years young, folks. 34 years young. No way my nephew was born today. Welcome back, Atrioc. What is that? I didn't die today. I was... Your nephew isn't me reincarnated. I'm not dead. That's not how welcome back meme works. If anything, your nephew's the Pope. If anything, your nephew is Pope Francis. Back again. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. The Glizzy have baby Pope on stream. Did LeBron wish you happy birthday? Honestly, no. I think that was one of the reasons they lost. I think LeBron snubbed me, Stans, and Lud. I swear to God. And I think he felt bad about it. I honestly think he tried to big dog us a bit, and then he felt so bad about it that he played shittily the whole game. So I think for the next game, he'll learn the error of his ways. Damn, it's been a minute. I have had a lot going on. A lot going on. We've had many guests staying with us, including my father. The LULW master himself is staying in my house right now. He's working. Otherwise, I'd bring him on stream to talk to everybody, but he is here. And so been a little bit caught up, but a lot of fucking news. Did I kill the Pope? Good question. No. Let's get that out of the way. I didn't kill the Pope. Now, could I have? Sure. Could I have found a way to do it? Sure. The problem is Vance got to him first. What do you want me to do? I'm not saying I'm not a great assassin. I put my mind to it. I'm just saying that if Vance is going to make it his mission, why am I going to take time out of my day? Atrioc Mangione. I'm not sure if killing the Pope is the same as killing the CEO of a predatory healthcare company. I'm not sure that Luigi Mangione is the patron saint of just killing people. I'm not sure I don't think you can just kill anyone and say, I'm kind of like the modern day Luigi. That's not how it works. It's not just murder of any kind. The Pope didn't say thank you. How old was the Pope? How old was the Pope? 88, bro? Too young. Too fucking young. He could have been president. God, he could have been, it's far too young to be taken from us. He's in his fucking prime. Do you think? Are we still doing House-a-thon? Yeah, definitely. We might not finish it on that day, but we'll do 5 episodes. Appoint Joe Biden as the new Pope. Okay. Interesting. I don't know if he has the qualifications, but he's got the spirit. Personally, I think a Fox News personality or a WWE executive should be the next Pope. And that's brave. And this is why we have the smartest chatters, because you think outside the box. You think about the people who can really do the job, not just people who can talk about the job, okay? We need a Pope with WWE experience. I think The Undertaker should be the next Pope. Is Hell in the Cell sacrilegious? I don't know. It's a little outdated to think about that kind of thing. We need someone who's got the ability to do the job. Are they going to do the Conclave like the movie? I haven't seen the movie. People keep referencing Conclave. I don't know too much fucking about it. My understanding, this is a very limited understanding of how they select a pope, comes from reading Angels and Demons on a plane 18 years ago and vague cultural things I've picked up. A bunch of bishops get in a room and vote, and then they send smoke up to let everybody know they picked somebody. We're close. Cardinals are a football team, so I think you're wrong about that. Okay? They don't get the football team in a room and figure out the next pope. That doesn't make any sense. Baseball, you fuck? Bro, you actually are wrong. In that, there's both. Dumbass. So bring the last Super Bowl winner. So Saquon Barkley is the next pope. Who do you think of all people on earth would throw the biggest wrench? I mean, who would be a pope that would really... Here's the thing. Church attendance is steadily dropping, to my understanding. Let's just confirm. Yeah, church attendance has declined in the United States and in most U.S. religious group. It's down. And so you really need a pope who can make God cool again. Do you know what I'm saying? You need someone who can put a fresh face on God. You think it should be the Rizzler? What if the Pope was like an anime girl VTuber? Would that be a way to get... What if it was like an ayaya changing my faith right now? They already have one? Wait, what are you trying to say to me? Anime? I don't want to Google this. Give me more of a... Who are we talking about? They have a mascot? What? Catholic Church VTuber mascot? What? Loose?
Gang, have you seen how with a big yellow jacket, dirty green boots, a stick, and a rosary cross necklace? According to their official website, it states the following, quote, born in the heart of the Vatican, Luce spreads laughter and
Luce. This is real? No fucking way. No fucking way. And you guys aren't bowing your heads and praying right now? Where the fuck are your manners? Holy fuck. They made an anime girl blue hair mascot. The Catholic Church is desperate. The attendance must be down more than I thought. Oh. Wow. Wow. That's very funny. I did not know. Look at this. Look at this fan art. Dude. Oh, baby. The Catholic Church thriving. That is crazy. Check out the Luce merch. Well, of course there'd be merch, right? There should be a gacha game. Come on. Lean into it. Catholicism, lean into it. 2025. Well, speaking of the Pope dying, a lot of people are blaming it on JD Vance because he visited the Pope and then immediately the Pope dies, which is just hard to hard to ignore the correlation at the very least. But the funniest thing for me was this. Trump came out to give an address about the Pope.
He just signed an executive order putting the flags of our country, all of them, all federal flags and state flags, at half-mast in honor of Pope Francis. So he was a good man, worked hard.
Why does the bunny have to be there for the whole... Why does the bunny have to be there for the whole speech?
He loved the world, and it's an honor to do that.
The guy in the suit just trying to appear somber.
I want to thank everybody for being here. This is some band.
The slight head tilt. I don't know. It's just so funny. It's so funny to imagine the guy in the bunny suit trying to make sure he doesn't appear too jovial.
Heard this band actually indirectly for 4 years and very directly now for 4.5. And I like the direct method even better. But the Marine Corps band is very, very special. Thank you very much. What a great job. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wow. Anyway, yeah, the Pope is dead. Kalani Inalak, thank you for the prime. Joe Hoy 3, thank you for the prime. Bunny feels underdressed. Dude, a little tacky for the bunny to show up basically in his birthday suit for such an important day. What the fuck is it? Oh, okay. Whoa. Thank you. How do I... Dude, I feel like the one thing is I had my settings so acutely... It's like I was an ace fighter pilot. I was Tom Cruise in Top Gun, and I had everything set up. And now that my PC is new, everything is out of place or in different spots. It's not that I am now an old man and cannot possibly adjust to even the slightest change. Warbone, thank you for the gifties. As someone who's getting paid in euros, I'm quite happy I'm quite fond of what this administration is doing. Thank you, Mr. President. Salute him. If you are getting paid in Swiss francs, you should be fucking kissing Donald Trump's ring. You should be saluting. Everything's up for you. If you get paid in American dollars, less nice. Less nice. He's a president for the Swiss. As for the Euro is an interesting thing. While you bring it up, I'll just talk about it while we're here. Emmanuel Macron, president of France, said two things recently about the economy of America, which were interesting. Number one, he said, if the president, Donald Trump, forcibly removes Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, from power, then the U.S.'s days of dollar being the reserve currency are basically over. That's what he said. He says GG because, like, once you separate the Federal Reserve, it's supposed to be independent from the... He said that was the first thing. Second thing he said was, like, today, which he said, hey, there's a real shot the euro could be the world's reserve currency. I'm going to be honest with you. Europe's got problems of its own. Europe's got problems of its own, and Macron is prone to exaggerated gestures. But it is funny. It is, that is something that would never have been said 6 months ago. And now it's being said openly. I wonder if I have the thing. Let me pull this up for you. Dude, I have so many interesting things open that I want to talk with you about, but sometimes I open too many, and then that's almost as bad as too few, you know? It's almost as bad as too few because there it is. Okay, found it. Well, that's not it. Well, whatever. Well, it's fucking Unusual Wells Replace the US dollar as the world's primary reserve currency. And right now, it's like, I'm dying. Right now, it's like 75% of all reserves in all central banks globally are dollars. 20% is euros. And like, I'm not kidding, like 5% is everything else. It's like yen and there's nothing, which is, what's shocking is how little Chinese yuan is used, considering how strong their economy is. But no, gold doesn't count as part of this. This is currencies in central banks. But theoretically, you know, when you think about it, my theory has been that you can go back to my video before Trump even came into power. My theory has been that as the US dollar loses its grip on the reserve currency, countries will turn to gold, at least in the interim period, as the exchange asset. But if they go to a currency, second best is euro. Second best is euro. If the franc is so stable, why doesn't the world use that? I actually think it's not a big enough country. They don't have enough franc in the world for it to be usable as a reserve currency. You really have to have a huge economy where a ton of your currency can get out into the world. Just print more. Well, then, you know, just print more where it runs into similar situations where people don't want to own your asset because you're constantly printing it. You understand? Anyway, there's so much to say about it. I don't even know where to really tackle what happened today. But let me keep it real simple, because I think on a high level, we need to talk about days like today. And there's things we can talk about, but I'll talk about the economy real quick because that's my wheelhouse. I think it's interesting. We have not had many days in my entire life in U.S. financial history where stocks are down, the dollar is down, and borrowing costs are up. It's called yields. Let's just say yields. It's selling bonds. This is we had this recently, and I was like, this is bad. And then we had it again today. It's like pretty consistent message from the world, from the market in America, outside of America. The trade is becoming, get out of American stocks. We can't trust the dollar. Don't loan money to America. That is becoming the trade. Okay. Now, again, I want to be clear. I need you to really understand. Previously, we've of course had many dips in the stock market before. We've held off a recession for a long time, I think, by overly printing and overly going into debt. But whatever. We've had recessions in American history, and when we have the stocks go down, usually the dollar goes up. Usually, borrowing costs go down. I'm sorry, does borrowing costs go down? And to have all of these going the wrong way at the same time is a bigger and more dangerous trend. It's like real emerging market shit. It's real like, a lack of trust almost. It's a real like shaken foundation of the faith that people had in financial assets in America. So that is like the opening thing I just want to talk about with what's going on today, which is like that's not good. And it is like 100 years from the Great Depression. Do you think that the U.S. losing the #1 spot might be good for other countries? The biggest beneficiaries will likely be East Asia. It'll be like China, Vietnam, Korea will probably do pretty well. Yeah, no, I don't think Canada. Not to be, I mean, you could think super long term, but like I'm talking about the realistic short term impacts, and I mean like medium, like 5 years. It's like pretty bad for Europe. It's bad for Canada. It's bad for everyone who was part of this U.S. system. It's bad for Japan. It's bad for that it's that's what it's looking like. It's looking like a pretty nasty recession. If I'm just being, I've always talked about this before, so I don't want to overwhelm with it. I don't want to over talk about it, but I was already sour on the economy going into this, and it just seems like the mismanagement, incompetence, and the tariffs, and those things are bad. They're kerosene on a fire, but they're also poking huge holes in things that other countries just thought to be true. There's a level of trust that just existed that is now gone. So it's not looking great. I'll be honest, it's not looking great. It's not looking great. Time to buy gold? I don't know about, I mean, I can't give investment advice, but a year ago would have been a great time. We were already on this course, even if Trump wasn't nominated. He just sped around it sooner. Listen, I'm going to make this case in a presentation I'm going to do fairly soon, that some of what is happening was inevitable in a way. Like the decoupling of the way the U.S.-China relationship had to change eventually, but the way it's being decoupled is so sloppy. It's so sloppy and negative and damaging that it execution matters a lot. You really don't want to. First of all, you don't want to speed things up like this. Hey, Doug's stream crashed. All right, that's part of my plan. I killed the Pope and then I shut down Doug's stream. It's all part of the way to funnel viewers here. I was concerned that too many young people were getting into religion instead of streamers, so I had to kill the Pope through my agent JD Vance, and then I had to shut down Doug's stream because I needed the unofficial raid, and then why not both? Better relax before the Vatican gets you? Dude, that's the thing. There was a time in the world where you couldn't, if I said a bad word against the Vatican, I'd be dead. Feels like the Vatican low-key fell off. I'm not even afraid of a secret Catholic assassin slitting my throat with a with a cross knife. I don't know what happened. Dude. How are your bonds doing now? Well, I'm not a bond trader. I'm not trying to buy bonds to speculate on interest rates and sell them I buy a bond and I hold it to maturity. So if I buy a bond that pays 5% a year, I just wait till the end of the year, get my 5% and my money back. Okay? I don't want to get too into bonds, but I'm a very basic bitch bond trader. I'm not trying to fucking I'm not trying to time anything. I'm not grooming bonds. We talking about the Jerome Trump beef? I mean, yes, in that it's bad. I've talked about it. I mentioned that Emmanuel Macron talked about it, but, high level, we have the Federal Reserve in America that sets interest rates and also has the power to print. And you need that institution to be separate from whoever's winning or losing currently in politics. Whoever the president is should not be able to dictate what the Federal Reserve does, because presidents will always want interest rates to go low to juice the economy in the short term. Even if it causes inflation, they don't care. They'll blame the inflation on something else. They need you to juice it. That's not just a Trump thing. It's every president ever. Every president wants lower interest rates to juice it for their election. And right now, Jerome Powell is refusing to lower interest rates because they're afraid of inflation. They got a dual mandate. If they lower it, inflation can come back. If they raise it, recession could get worse. So they've been holding steady, and Trump's furious. Trump is demanding. He's crashing out on Blue Sky, True Social, Red Sky. He's crashing out on True Social about Jerome Powell and how he wants to fucking, how he's stupid and slow and behind the times. And if they wants to get rid of him, he will get rid of him. Let's see. Let's get a fucking, here we go. Preemptive cuts on interest rates are being called for by many. With energy costs, dude, I love how you just capitalizes random shit. Capitalize and quotes random shit. With energy costs way down, food prices, including Biden's egg disaster, substantially lower, and most other, quote, things trending down, there is virtually no inflation. With these costs trending so nicely downward, just like I predicted they would do, there can almost be no inflation, but there can be a slowing of the economy unless Mr. Too Late, a major loser, he's talking about Jerome Powell, lowers interest rates. Now! Europe has already lowered, in quotes, again, I don't know why. I don't know why it's in quotes. They did lower it 7 times. Powell has always been too late. TOO. Except when it came to the election period, when he lowered in order to help sleepy Joe Biden, later Kamala, get elected. How did that work out? So much to unpack here, but I don't know if you can tell. He's very subtle about it. You know, the mastery of statecraft. He wants Jerome Powell to lower interest rates. I don't know if you can tell. He's keeping it very subtle, but he would like Jerome Powell to lower interest rates. And that is at odds with what Jerome Powell is doing. Jerome Powell is very wait and see right now. What's interesting is that, you know, Mr. Too Late, a major loser, was nominated for the position by Trump. Jerome Powell was appointed by Trump in his first term. So this is his appointee. This is and I think Jerome Powell's in a tough position, as he keeps mentioning, that he, here, you know, if he lowers them like Trump wants, there's a real chance of inflation roaring back as it attempts to kickstart the economy in a period where we're already at, like, we haven't even got back to sustainable 2%. Inflation is crippling to people, and people are very scared of it. And if he raises them, I mean, he would never raise them. He'll never raise them. No, he'll never raise them. But if he did raise them to fight inflation, you know, the economy's already slowing down, and this hurts jobs. So this is the dual mandate. This is the problem. That's why they're stuck in the middle. And I don't envy Jerome Powell's job or his situation. It certainly isn't made easier by random fucking global tariffs being thrown into the economy. But whatever you think about it, you know, you can't allow the executive of the country to have control over the central bank, because history has shown, this is not just an American thing. This is anywhere. This is in Turkey right now, where the fucking inflation is hyperinflation, where we're at the end of the line. If you let the executive get access past this firewall into the central bank, president, king, prime minister, whatever it is, whoever the leader is, you have to keep it separate. This is dangerous. This is emerging market. This is where you get to like a non-tier 1 country. And what we're having right now is like, it just feels more and more Banana Republic-y. More, third world. It's like, it's a third world situation. This is not, you can't be, but he hasn't fired him yet. So we'll see. He will appoint someone else in 2026, which is also a problem because if he appoints like the most kiss-ass toady of all time, then it's functionally the same thing as him having total control. Is there any trying to loophole they're trying to exploit to get rid of Dippy? No, they haven't tried to get rid of him yet. Trump has screamed at him on social media. He said, if I wanted him gone, he'd be gone, believe me. But they haven't actually tried. And Jerome Powell has said many times that he will not be leaving. There's no way they can be forced to leave. And there's no precedent for something like this. Trump did nominate him, yeah. How else would the USB could do that happen? I mean, listen, no one has a direct answer to this, but if you think faith in the dollar is declining now, and by the way, it is, just to be clear, all of yours, if you have some money in the bank, that money is worth less today significantly than it was yesterday. Okay? The dollar keeps falling. It is now lower than it's been in 3 years. It's the lowest it's been in 3 years. Keeps falling. So not only are imagine having your wealth in a 401k that's in a stock market that is down with a dollar that's worth less. It's double down. Your savings are doubly being drained. Your 401k is worth 15% less than it was before all this started. And the dollars that you get when you sell that 401k are like 11% less, 17% less. So that is hurting people significantly. That's a real impact on people's savings, their lives. And you can't really escape it. It's very hard to get out of the dollar for Americans. You get paid in dollars. So it's, as you might say, bad. Feels good to be Canadian. I mean, if America has a recession, Canada has a recession, bro. Listen, I understand it's on site. I would hope we could be friends, but it's the same. It's the same, bro. The economies are too tied in. Will you stream Tesla earnings results? So yes. So, a couple things. So I decided, since my dad is here, and since when I was growing up, my dad tried to take me to sports games, and I would sometimes even bring a fucking book or a Game Boy or a DS, and I would ignore the sports game, and I didn't care that I'm taking my dad to a Lakers game tomorrow, okay? So, I do want to stream, but I have to stream early. So what I want to do, ideally, is stream Tesla's earnings call because tomorrow is such a big fucking deal for Tesla. They are not just doing a regular earnings call. Apparently, the idea is they have some kind of special presentation again. Let me see. Elon, I believe, is doing a special presentation, a company update tomorrow. It's all hands on deck because the stock is down again. What, 12%? Today? I mean, it keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. We're down 40% year to date. It's bad. Musk caught in code red moment at Tesla. The idea is he is probably going to quit Doge, which, by the way, is down to like fucking 8 nickels in savings. Dude, every single day, the fucking Doge reduces the amount that it's fucking saved. So, Doge is down to like 8 fucking nickels, and nothing's really happening. The deficit is up this year. It is up over last year, and last year was spending like fucking crazy. And I believe he will. I don't know if he'll announce it tomorrow, but it wouldn't surprise me if tomorrow if he's not saying I'm stepping down right now, but he said like, here's my clear action plan for stepping down from Doge. We've accomplished it. I'm passing it off to XX and X, and I'm going to be focusing full time on building the future here at Tesla to try and get a pop, because the spiral is bad here. Sales are down. Are XX and X his sons? Some think he's going to get Tesla to buy XAI. I've heard that as well. Which would be when XAI bought Twitter, I said it's not really a big deal. They're both private companies where he owns over half. It's kind of just shifting money around, but the liabilities are still the same. But if he gets Tesla, a public company that he only owns 11% of, to buy XAI, it is using everyone's 401k and all the investors of Tesla as a bailout fund for his other unprofitable companies. That's a line you don't want to cross. That's a much different line. AI and Twitter buying each other doesn't matter. It's not, it helps Twitter as a bailout, but only if XAI keeps going well. But he is not God King of Tesla. He owns 11%, and he just happened to stack the board with sycophants, with toadies, with henchmen, with goons. Not gooners, goons in the villain style. And they might, there's precedent, right? So a while back, Elon's cousin set up a company called Solar City that was supposed to be the future of solar. Their big demonstration was faked. It was his brother, I'm sorry. Solar City was faked. It was a fake demonstration. And the company had no real revenue. And then out of the blue, Tesla bought them for billions. And it was like a pretty transparent bailout slash scam. But Tesla was so big and growing at the time that everyone just started said, fuck it. And Solar City wasn't that big by comparison. So the bailout just got. And by the way, if you look at solar revenue now, from Solar City operations through Tesla, it's nothing. They bought it and kind of like shut it down. No, it was his cousin? I knew it. Try to correct me. Let's find out. Yeah, it was his cousin, motherfucker. The fucking... all right. Anyway, I work in solar. It's dying industry. Well, yeah, we'll see. Speaking of my money being worth less, I tragically lost my Enron hat out of a car window on the highway. You got me right? You've done a noble thing by letting someone else have the Enron hat. Pass it around. It'll come back to you one day. That's going to land on a trucker's head, and he's going to wear it, and then it'll inspire him, and then it'll fly out of his window onto someone else's head, and then some kid will pick it up, and then 10 years later, you're going to be like strolling down a street, and it's going to fall out of a window and land on your head. It'll be, and you get lice. Take your dad to the earnings call tomorrow. I don't think my dad has any interest in listening to a Tesla earnings call. I think my dad does have an interest in going to a Lakers game, though. That'll be fun. Hey, thanks for the gifties. YYDRS, thank you for the gifties. You have a message you want me to read? What was your message? You said, I got the forest green Enron hat. You give me gifties and an Enron hat. Thank you. It would be funny if I brought my dad to an earnings call and he's on his Game Boy the whole time. We can go full circle. You know what I'm saying? If he's just sitting there like bored as shit, and I'm like, this is actually really interesting. What? Like, how did Trump apport JP if the Fed's supposed to be separate? And that's the way our system works. The president still appoints the chairman of the Federal Reserve, but once they're in the office, they're supposed to be separate. They can't be coerced. They can't be controlled. They can't be threatened. They can't be bought, is the idea. The idea is that they have to be impartial, because if they lowered interest rates to help someone out in an election or politically, they would fuck over the money if everyone else could get inflation. It would be, that's the idea. We'll see how that works out in 2026, assuming he doesn't fire him early. But what I wanted to say, okay, so you cut me off. What I want to say is, if Trump fires Jerome Powell early, the very likely reaction is an extreme rise in U.S. borrowing costs and a fleeing from the dollar. Because the idea is that Trump, with unchecked power over the Federal Reserve, would print like crazy for whatever he wants to do, and thus devalue and ruin the dollar. Electric Quids, thank you for the 5 gifties. First time catching a stream recently, started speedrunning Hitman in VR. You should check it out. I tried Hitman VR. If I tried speedrunning it, I would vomit all over my desk. Me and Linkus did a race, and I got very, very sick after 2 levels. It was very fun, but I got motion sickness. So vomit is content. I'm not so desperate to get a viral clip that I need to make myself motion sick so I throw up on stream. That's not... Oh, was that good content, guys? Can I get a W in chat? That's not really... I don't need to do that. I'm not necessarily there. Okay? Yeah, it's some dumb dummies. If I put my savings into gold without protecting from using value. So listen, I cannot tell you what will happen with gold. Here's the thing about gold, right? I have a thesis on gold that I've made very clear in many clips and videos. However, because it has risen so dramatically, and now you have people on Wall Street bets saying gold is the new Nvidia, you are entering a period where perhaps it is overbought. You're entering a period where you can no longer be, you're not early at all. In any case, you are not early. So I can't give you any advice on it, because while I have a fundamental reason why I bought it a year ago, it may be different now. I mean, it's not something I can truly understand. I don't know what the fair value really is. I think the market doesn't do. They're piling into it because of uncertainty, because no one knows how this all really shakes out. Able Links, they were the 5 gifties. P72, they were the 25 months. Whoa, hey, Big A. Long time YouTube frog here. First time catching the stream live. Good to see you, Dather. I had the opportunity to study chip design in either the Netherlands or Singapore. Now, when you say chip design, you mean like the tasty chips we eat, right? You mean like you're gonna do a kettle chip, but with the ruffles of a ruffle. You're gonna have a thing where it's a Dorito where one side is Cool Ranch and one side is like nacho cheese. A double-sided Dorito. Holy fuck, dude. You're actually gonna change the game. The quality of both programs is the same. Do you have any opinions on where we better term stability and growth? I think you're good either way, bro. If you're studying chip design in Netherlands or Singapore, you'll probably get a great experience. They're both cool places. Yeah, I would follow your heart. This seems like slightly a brag question, but it's cool anyway. I'm happy for you. Good luck. Both places seem unique and fun. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What is this? What is this now? Wait, you're telling me this the Doritos collisions already exist? I thought I dreamed this. Wait, what? This looks fake. Intense pickle cornichons intenses? That's the name of this side? This feels... Is this AI generated? What is this flavor name? Intense pickle cornichons intenses? It's French? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, it's French Canadian. Even worse. Oh, God. It's like France without the Eiffel Tower. Without Napoleon. Need Quack to buy me some? I did see Quack. Quack did that. Quack got here off the plane from Canada and had a bag of the most disgusting chips. They were like, he brought them for somebody. This is going to sound crazy, but I think they were tomato chips. Yes. Yes, it was tomato chips Lay's. It was ketchup or, yeah, it was like this. He had a bag of these, dude. He had a bag of these. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. If it'll help heal the divide between our two countries, I'll eat them. But don't make me if I don't have to. If I have to have some Tim Hortons and ketchup Lay's, I'll be an ambassador. But it doesn't look tasty at all, bro. Looks kind of nasty. Have you tried them? No, I haven't. To be fair, I haven't tried them. I used to love these, but one night in college after a night of heavy drinking, I ate a bunch of them, puked them up. There was a red stain on the carpet of my dorm room for a year. You actually don't need to share that with me. You actually can keep that to yourself. That's actually a visual I don't need. Nobody asked, really. I just mentioned the chips. Dude, that reminds me, if we're talking about nasty stories. Have I told this story? I'm going to tell it anyway, because people here are new. All right, you got some clips, people here. I'm going to tell a story. In sophomore year of college at ASU, me and my friends had 3 out of 4 rooms in our 4-person dorm. The 4th was open. Because somebody I think we were going to live with dropped out or whatever. Okay? The 4th was open. So it was auto-filled by the ASU, I don't know. What do you call it? Administration. Okay? It was auto-filled. So 1 month into the semester, we get a new roommate. And his name, I'm going to say it, is Christian. His name is Christian, okay? I'll say it. I'm not going to say anything else about his name, but his name's Christian. Okay? Christian moves in, and he is much older than us. He's like, I don't know if he's 30-something, but he looks 30-something, okay? And at the time, I'm 19, okay? He looks like, okay, you know what he looks like? Actually, this is probably perfect. This is not, okay, his appearance is not a problem, but I want you to picture him. He looks like Jason Alexander in season 1 of Seinfeld. So like this. This is a perfect example of what he looks like. This is what he looks like. Okay. This is our roommate. We're all 19. This is our roommate. By the way, when he filmed this is how fucking different the 80s were. When this was filmed, this guy was like 28. I'm not kidding. Jason Alexander was in his 20s when he filmed season 1 of Seinfeld. I'm not kidding. Isn't that fucking crazy? Anyway, so this guy's my roommate. His name's Christian. He does not talk to us. He doesn't talk to any of us. He barely makes eye contact. He is always in his room. And what he does all day, this kind of dates when I went to college, is he listens to the Katy Perry song Teenage Dream or California Girls. I don't know. Whichever one had the video where she's like in the clouds and her fucking tatas are flying everywhere, okay? Whichever one that was. He's sitting there watching the video on YouTube all the time. California Girls then. Like anytime his door is open, that video's on the screen. He's watching it all the time. Okay, a little weird. And he creeps out. I'm just gonna be honest with you. He creeps out like Ari and some of the, we all have people we're dating at the time who come over, and he creeps around. He just has a weird vibe. And I'm not trying to, again, if it wasn't for what comes later, I would be much nicer in retrospect to what I'm saying. But let me tell you this whole story. He's kind of creepy. One time, for example, like I think the girls show up for something, because there's a dorm room with 4 girls in it that we would often meet up with. And anyway, so they come over and we're not there yet, and so they're waiting around and he's in there, and he was standing. This is true. It's at night. He was standing in the corner of the dorm room, staring out the window in tighty whities, eating a Snickers bar. So he's standing in the corner of the room. Again, there's people there. You could go back into his room, but he's in like this living room area in tighty whities, staring out the window, just eating just an odd, he was hungry. Hey, don't get me wrong, but he was, he's showing his dominance. Okay, well, we'll see. Anyway, putting out an odd vibe. One day, we come back from all hanging out and we go into the dorm room and it smells fucking foul. It smells horrendous, like truly overpowering stench, wafting from our dorm room. And we go into the living room area of the dorm room and we're like choking. It's like, it's nauseous. We're choking. We can't figure it out. We have to leave. We have to call and figure out what's going on. We call the front desk and try to get someone to. Anyway, it turns out that Christian had vomited some real rancorous bile, some real nasty, vile vomit all from his room, like the way a cat might, all over the fucking central area, all over just vomit, all like into the carpet. all over. And like, it was like, and I guess I'd left it for a long time because it was really like rancid. It was really stinking up everything. And obviously we get extremely mad at him, you know, because like this stench is now deep into the fucking floorboards. It's like, this is going to be here for a while. It's like really sucks. And we're mad. We're like, bro, you have to fucking clean this up. You have to clean this fucking. He's like, yeah, okay. So he goes, this is like late at night. He goes and we leave. We can't even, we can't stand to be there. I think I go stay with Ari. Maybe I got lucky. Maybe that's why I'm married now, is because I had to stay with Ari that night. Okay, maybe Christian helped me out. W wingman. But we leave. We're not going to stay in that room tonight. And we're like, go, you have to clean this up. He goes down to the front desk to check out the cleaning supplies that he needs to get this vomit removed. What cleaning supplies do you think he checks out to get this arduous task done? That's right. A single vacuum. A single vacuum. He checks out a vacuum. Then he goes back up to the room, tries to vacuum up this caked in, oh God, I'm sick thinking of it. The smell was so bad. This caked in vomit everywhere. It's in the carpet. Okay? Vacuums it all up. Halfway through, the vacuum fills up. The job is not even close to done. Not even really started when you think about it. And the vacuum is like ruined. It's like the vacuum is also filled and destroyed. He takes the vacuum back to the front desk and tries to return it. The guy at the front desk is like, what the fuck is this? This is not how it works. You have to clean this now. You might have to pay for a replacement vacuum. At which point, Christian physically assaults the front desk RA. Like, tries to fucking hurt him. Like, grabs him, shoves him against the wall, tries to force him to take the vacuum back. At which point, the RA, once he leaves, calls the police. So the police come and get Christian in the act of vacuuming his own vomit with this broken vacuum. Which, you know, is a small win, but the battle is not won because now Christian is expelled. Nothing is clean. Nothing is clean. And we're kind of screwed. So we, over the next few days, have to fucking clean it ourselves. I think we actually had to pool our money and pay someone professionally because it was fucking bad. But either way, we're in the room as it's being cleaned 3 days later. And that's when Christian's mom shows up and she's so nice. And she gets his stuff. Hi. Oh, nice to meet you. Leaves. His mom showed to get his stuff. He was expelled. And we never saw him again. That's the fucking Christian story. It was crazy. How old is he? I don't know his exact age. But he looked 30, 32, 33. He could be any one of us. Then, as a little bonus, because we were the only dorm that had a vacancy, you know, 6 months into the semester, when a Korean exchange student named Jin moved to ASU, we were the only dorm available for him. And he moved in, and I ended up becoming good friends with him, and that's what led me to go to Korea in my junior year and, you know, changed a lot of things about my life. And Jen showed me around and gave me a good time in Korea, and so it did work out. You know, sometimes bad things lead to good things, but boy, that was that miserable at the time. And by the way, the smell, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think it ever truly left. It was always like, nobody wanted to hang out in our living room ever again. Like ever again. It always had that faint nastiness, dude. Anyway, And that Christian's real name, JD Vance. Dude, he actually looked like a young JD Vance. He did. He looked like a young JD Vance with a little less hair, but that could be fixed with hair plugs. So I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out. How did he even throw up? I don't know, but his diet was candy. I mean, I never saw him eating things other than like chips and candy and watching Katy Perry. I'm not, you might think I'm exaggerating. I'm really not. Months of him listening to Katy Perry, that one song, and eating fucking Doritos and candy bars. And was he fat? Yeah, he was fat. He was fat. Not like insanely. It wasn't like, but he was bigger. But that's not the problem. The problem was not his appearance or anything like that. The problem was that he was a strange dude who physically assaulted someone and left a fucking stench. Dude, I had a roommate in college whose diet was 80% silk soy milk. He had cartons stacked in his room. Bro, have any of you guys, some of you guys are young men. Some of you have done this, or you know people have done this. There's a ritual in many young men's life, especially nerdy young men, when they're like, I'm going to gain a bunch of weight and muscle. And they start drinking a fuck ton of milk. And they just become milky boys. They start drinking a gallon of milk every day, and it's like so disgusting. And they don't work out enough usually to actually balance it out. So they almost turn into milk. This is common. This is very common. This is very common. It's a very common young man thing, especially, you know, maybe underweight or scrawnier or nerdier guys where they go, it's time for my Go Mad challenge. And they do a gallon of milk a day. And you see them walking around with a carton, and it's just nasty. They smell like milk. They have milk burps. It's disgusting. It's foul. And they turn into they just look milkier. You can't, just too much milk. There's too much milk, dude. Works though. It's better than under eating, I guess, if you're trying to gain weight, but it's rough. This is literally me. I feel so seen. I'm aware, dude. People did it. Is this the guy? What's this? That's it. No, that's not it. That's not it. Hey, man.
Hello, Dom.
I don't want a glizzy. No, I don't want a glizzy.
Yes, for me, I'm showing the stream.
Well, they don't want to see it because we don't do glizzy jokes around here.
Oh, yeah, do a Joler if you are happy to see the glizzy on screen.
Hey, where did you get all these?
I took from Dodger Stadium.
That was a while ago.
No, it wasn't.
How many? You keep coming out with glizzies.
See, they want the glizzy.
Where are you getting these hot dogs from?
From the fridge. Pork.
That's nasty. I just told a Christian story.
Your dad's out there laughing his ass off.
Oh, is he watching it?
Yeah.
That's funny. My dad's watching the stream.
Yeah, I remember that creepy.
Do you remember that creepo and how he stood there in his tighty whities and ate
the problem was that it was the 4 girls in the dorm, right?
Yeah.
Before he went to the RA for the vacuum,
yeah,
he tried to get Emma's vacuum.
Oh.
And he just walked into the room like without knocking or saying anything. Like it was so creepy.
That was creepy.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm here to borrow a vacuum." I'm like, "What the fuck? You can't just come in here without like what? You're creepy." It was so nasty.
Thank God he didn't take Emma's vacuum because she would have had to burn that thing.
Okay.
Dude, the idea of using a vacuum is just so funny for that task. Hey, thanks for the 5 months. Dad Atrioc cameo. Maybe I'll bring him in, yeah. One time in my freshman year, one of our hallmates, also named Christian, offered us alcohol, which was hand sanitizer with the jelly stuff removed. So basically isopropyl alcohol. He ended up puking his guts out with blood and everything that night all over the toilets and showers of the dorm. It was insane. He recovered, though, didn't even go to the hospital. Easy. Boot and rally, dude. Damn. Got a nice buzz for cheap. And kept on trucking. That's crazy. Can I tell you one more? Don't make this a clip, Aiden. Can I tell you one more college dorm story? This one's a little graphic. Everyone, if you're not an adult, leave. Okay, adults only. Okay, this is for adults. Okay, that's not that bad, but just like understand. It was so the dorm looked like this, okay? This is freshman year. So I'm 17, 18. The dorm that I was in this year looked like this. Oh, wait. Fuck. Oh no. I fucked it. Dude, it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be fucking perfect. It look like an H. It look like an 8. No, god damn it. I'm gonna get this right. Okay, I'm gonna get this right. Okay. This doesn't even matter. Okay. This part wasn't bigger. Okay, so there's like a bed here. There's a bed here. There's a bed here. There's a bed here. And this is a bathroom with 2 doors. Okay? So you could enter here. You could enter here. And then you connect the 2 like bedroom areas with a bathroom. Okay? I thought everyone was gone. I think everyone was like, we had all left or something. And I came back and I was going to take a shower. So I go in here. I think I like fucking fix my homework or whatever. And then I go in here and I open this door to go in the shower. And my roommate, Paul, I don't know why I'm saying everyone's real name, but Paul, who lived here, was in the bathroom, shower off, totally naked, standing there. Now, before you think, oh, he must have been doing something, not hard. Okay. Why do I know that? Here's why. I open the bathroom. He's standing there. Again, I told you this is graphic. He's standing right here. He looks at me. We make direct eye contact, and then he puts his hands back like Martin Scorsese saying cinema, like caught. Okay? Then but I don't know how to react. Again, this is like my first time, I guess, living out of my house, you know? And I'm like, oh. And then he starts jumping backwards. And I'm going to say it, meat spinning. It's flopping and it's spinning. And he's like jumping backwards, like doesn't know what to say. He's backwards long jumping like Mario. And he freaking BLJs backwards into the room, back over here, and slams the door shut. We don't speak about it the rest of the year. That's the God's honest, dude. Anyway, got to get that story off my chest, dude. Now you guys know. We talked about it next year. No, after that year, we went to different dorms, so I never saw him again. Very graphic. I told you. I warned you. Mm. Big A, what is the craziest class related thing that happened to you? What do you mean, like socioeconomic class, or do you mean like in class at school? What do you mean? Things that happen in class? Dude, the saddest thing I remember from school related to class, there's plenty of stories, I'm sure. But I remember that one of my closest friends, to this day, he was at my bachelor party and my wedding, and I saw him recently. He lives in Arizona. He's a good friend. His name's Josh. I'm not going to say more. This guy, Josh, went to ASU with me. And he knew that I had taken up longboarding, partially to spend more time with Ari, because she was into longboarding. Okay, so we would longboard all around the school. And I was longboarding. And Josh was, he made custom longboards. So what he would take a longboard and paint the underside really cool and sell it to people. But as a gift for me on my birthdays, it's my birthday story because my birthday was 2 days ago, but this is 7 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever. He got me a custom longboard with a custom painted underside that had like Mario, like shooting a fireball. But he painted it. It was so sick. You know, I was a gamer. I was in the esports club. It was like a fucking sick ass. That was my Steam picture, I think, back then. It was cool. It was a fucking cool ass, sick ass longboard. And I loved it. I was like instantly like, this is one of the coolest gifts I ever gotten. And I ride on it all the way to class where I was taking a final. I think it was, I don't remember the final. Some business class. It was a final. And again, I'd probably not been paying too much attention, but I go in, everybody in the room, people skateboarded a lot at ASU. They would line their boards up at the back of the room. It's a huge lecture hall. They would line up their boards at the back and you'd get it on the way out. So I line my board up at the back and I sit down and take my test. And it's 2-3 hours or whatever, long ass fucking test. I'm sweating. I get up I walk to the back of the room. My board's not there. Someone fucking stole it. Like the day it was given to me. I was so sad. Dude, I felt like so shitty. I like avoided the friend a little bit because I didn't even know what to say. I felt, dude, it hurt me so bad because I loved the gift and I didn't want to even tell him. I felt so ashamed that I lost it. It was terrible. That stuck with me. Anyway, we're still friends to this day. No big deal. I eventually did tell him, but man, did I feel bad. It took me a while. It probably took me months to actually tell him what happened. I had a prof not show up to any of my classes. On 100 just showed up on everyone's transcript and no one questioned or reported it. Class of 30 and no one snitched. Dude, we are cooked. We're cooked. We're cooked, bro. I'm not saying I wouldn't do any different when I was at ASU, but man, that's wild. I saw someone posted on the Reddit maybe, but I saw it was a thread that went viral elsewhere on Reddit and it got cross-posted to our Atrioc. But it was a guy saying, listen, I'm trying my heart off, my ass off in this class, and I know that 80% of my fellow classmates are cheating with ChatGPT. I can see them using it all the time. The ones that cheat the most are getting better grades than me. Like I'm trying studying, I'm frustrated, I'm thinking, and I'm getting destroyed by the ChatGPT guys. And it is really demoralizing. And Good thing we have a good Secretary of Education who can handle this problem. Good thing we have somebody who's got their finger on the pulse. But yeah, I mean, that does feel problematic. It does feel problematic. That's demoralizing. That's like the virality of tax cheating. Hey, there's a new good work. I was gonna watch that with you guys. Can you do that real quick? It's called "Why Are We in a Trade War?" Got 800K views. Sounds fucking good. Let's do a little good work break, and then I have a lot of stuff we'll talk about. Let's watch it.
Citizens of the world, we are at war. I know. And it's the most brutal kind of war. Money war. That's right, folks. Over the past few weeks, financial markets have been in a tornado of turbulence after the US of A fired off hot new rules from our trade policy cannons that have completely turned the globe upside down. And if you're wondering why it was absolutely necessary for us to unleash this economic hellfire onto the world, the answer is, I do not know.
Nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows. There's 7 different answers from 7 different people.
Before 2 weeks ago, I thought tariff was nothing more than the name of my estranged Mormon son. You can come home anytime, buddy. We still love you. But nope. According to Investopedia, a tariff is a tax that one country imposes on goods and services that it imports from another country. By making imports more expensive, countries can use tariffs to achieve certain strategic goals, like getting a trade partner to behave in a certain way, creating a competitive economic advantage for yourself, or balancing your budget. Perhaps most importantly, though, a tariff is something that makes my president and commander-in-chief Donald J. Trump absolutely sprung.
Yep.
I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary. Then I was reprimanded by the fake news. They said, what about love, religion, and God? I said, I agree. Let's put God number 1, religion number 2, love, I don't know. We got to put that number 3, I guess, right? And then it's tariff.
Up until this Trump administration, tariffs between...
Damn. He's funny. He's funny, bro. He's got jokes. I wish he didn't have any power. She didn't have any power. But he's
between
funny.
the U.S. and other
That's
nations
our guy,
were
all right.
pretty low. I mean, you know as well as me, the effective average tariff on imports coming into the U.S. was 2.5% as of last year. But this year, after a couple of months of foreplay, President Trump's love for tariffs climaxed in a 53-minute orgasm he called Liberation Day, which, if nothing else, is a pretty sick thing to call your orgasm. On Lib Day, Trump proudly held up a poster, Scholastic Book Fair style, that announced massive tariffs on every country in the world, including China, our closest allies, and those freeloading motherfuckers over on Christmas Island. These were some of the highest U.S. tariffs we've ever seen, and after they were announced, the stock market made like a heavy, heavy rock and plummeted. Heavy, heavy rock. Are you guys fucking kidding me with this script? This was followed by a drop in global stock markets, then the U.S. bond market, forcing Trump to back off and announce a 90-day pause on a lot of his beloved tariffs, which for a minute looked like it made the economy happy, but then everyone realized that tariffs were still really high, and also Trump was still tariffing the other biggest economy in the world and one of our largest trading partners in China, at which point the economy basically got sad again, forcing Trump to back off again and say, hey, maybe let's exempt the big stuff like smartphones and electronics from the China tariffs, which made the economy a little bit happy again. But then Trump's Commerce Secretary said that the exemption would only be temporary. Ha-ha! Trade war! It's a lot to digest, it's a lot to follow. Every day we're gonna keep getting bombarded with news, and you're gonna wanna move to a beach hut in Central America where you'll spend the rest of your days drinking homemade rum and gambling on scorpion fights. Sounds pretty sweet. The point is, this is all very confusing. But if one...
What would this say? What would consumers feel when stock market drops some pricing bad news? If the stock market drops 40% in a month, we're in a Great Depression. That's how you you'll feel it in a variety of ways, including at the breadline, dude. You'll feel that when 40% in a month would be catastrophe, would be history book level. Okay? But, you know, even if you don't own stocks, the stock market dropping, because it is so many Americans' 401k retirement portfolio, makes them feel less wealthy. They feel more concerned about money, so they spend less. They clamp down, which again slows the economy because they're not spending, so people have to start laying people off. Jobs start shuttering. Businesses are shuttering. That's the effect of the stock market on everyone. Again, so much of our economy has been propped up by the top end of that K. You know, not this. not the dorm room with the K-shaped economy where a few people, they're supposed to be smaller. A few people have been doing well, and most people have been seeing their living standards decrease. This is where the stock market rising was helping the most. As that falls, and we have more of like an R-shaped economy, and they join everyone declining, that's when it's all over. Because a lot of businesses are propped up by the spending of the top 10%. If this is the top 10%, they've been doing so well, and they've been spending so lavishly and going on trips and traveling and buying Airbnbs and helping bid up the housing market. And all of this has kept prices, kept the economy going. But it's driven by the wealth effect of them having stocks doing well. Once the stock market drops, this last leg gives out, and then everything goes to shit. That was what's holding it up.
One thing is clear is that this Trump administration seems pretty bent on upending the old world order of trade.
There's this whole theory of like international trade and everyone gets richer if everyone kind of does what they're best at. The administration is kind of holding a gun up to that model. This is a potential massive like reordering of the global trade system that's been in place, I think, for about 8 decades.
The order that we now have is one based around broadly free trade, although there are obviously a lot of exceptions to that, relatively low tariffs, and relatively free capital flows between different countries.
Paul Kiernan reports on the U.S. economy for the Wall Street Journal. Meanwhile, Stephen Kamen is the former director of international finance at the Federal Reserve. And listen, I got a whole stable of nerdy men out back ready to help us out in our time of confusion. So why don't you kick back and relax and let me roll these dogs across your screen, all right?
It's pretty murky exactly what President Trump and his colleagues want to replace that with. But it's pretty clear that President Trump feels...
Sorry, I have to respond to this because I don't like this line of thought. Wait, this is... Oh, this is for a presentation. But if you want to see it, it's Google Trends searching for file bankruptcy. It's up. Sorry, unrelated. The thing is, if there's going to be a recession, so you said in the past 25 years, recessions have bounced back relatively quickly. First of all, I would tell that to people who were impacted in 2009. To them, it didn't feel quickly, okay? I just want to say like that. People in 2009, when you were playing your fucking Nintendo DS, it was impacted. But your 2 examples then, we've only had 2 recessions in the past 25 years. 2001, tech recession, tech bubble, and then 2009, housing recession. 2001 did bounce back relatively quickly, but that was mostly not much of a slowdown in the real economy, mostly a slowdown in big tech stocks blew up, but the real economy was fine. And then 2009, the real economy was hit, but we printed untold amounts of money to get things back on track. The problem we have now is that in 2009, when we printed like crazy, there wasn't inflation. And a large part of that was because we were getting equal deflation from the opposite side by offshoring things to China. That made everything cheaper. So that made everything cheaper as we were printing, and it kind of canceled each other out. In 2025, we have way, way higher debt. We are on the edge of inflation breaking out at any moment. And to fire up the money printer to bring us out of recession is much harder to do without severe, significant, instant inflation. That's why we're at the end of the rope of like, oh, we'll just borrow and print our way out of it. Now, I'm not saying they won't try to do that. I think they probably will. I'm not saying they won't. But I am telling you that I think the most intelligent thesis around the situation we're in is that it's different. It's not the same as every previous recession you've had in your lifetime. It's much different. And one way to show that is that normally, again, when we're scared of recession and stocks are hurting, the U.S.'s borrowing cost gets cheaper and cheaper because everyone floods to U.S. treasuries for safety. But they're not doing that this time. Our borrowing costs are getting more expensive every day while our stock market gets lower. That's rare. That's a divergence that doesn't normally happen. That's a deeper, more substantial, scarier risk. That means real economic pain. That's why I sound the alarm on this so much. That's why I've been talking about it and even repeating myself, because I think it's not fully understood. That doesn't normally happen. That's not a normal divergence. Anyway, we'll continue.
That the United States has been ill-served by the system that's developed, since World War II of free trade and free capital flows. And he'd basically like to do his level best to try to bring as much production, and particularly manufacturing, back to the United States through tariffs and whatever other means it takes in order to accomplish that with or without the cooperation of our trading partners.
Hey, folks. Check
Yeah,
out some of
seen a
these
lot of
photos of me on a vacation I took last year. Yep, there's me at the Grey Wall Rod. Right
This is a
now,
long
app
ad.
the new shovel
What an
and use my
insanely long ad.
Our cruise is taken.
What an insanely long ad.
Now, trying to get inside of the mind of an ardent fan of the musical Cats is pretty dicey, especially when they're the POTUS of the United States. But god damn it, I am business newscaster Daniel Elizabeth Toomey, and I'm gonna try.
I think we have to just take the president at face value when he says that he doesn't like trade deficits. And he doesn't like the idea that all of these countries are selling more to the US than they're buying.
Oh, look, it's Sam Lowe, everybody. Leading European trade expert and author of
Yeah,
the...
I want to stop here and explain a little bit of this too. Sorry. I think this is really important and worth understanding. Because this is like the fundamental problem. Okay. So if you are the USA and you have the world reserve currency, the dollar bill, fucking awesome. In order to be the world reserve currency, a lot of dollars have to leave the country. You have to have dollars abundant around the world. People can use it to trade goods and services between each other. Like if Saudi Arabia and Europe want to trade oil in dollars with each other, there needs to be a lot of fucking dollars in Saudi Arabia and in Europe. Okay? So to do that, one of the things that has allowed us to be the reserve currency and one of the weird trade-offs that we've had is that we have to run trade deficits. We basically give people dollars that we've printed and they give us goods. Okay? It's an exorbitant privilege. It's been incredible. We give them money. They give us oil and goods and cars. And now there is a downside to this. The structural strength of the dollar and this system means that we have to import more than we export, which crushes our own manufacturers. And over the past 30 years, we've seen this. That's the Rust Belt. That's the hollowing out of, the Rust Belt and the loss of manufacturing jobs. All of it gets sent overseas. And all of it is to the benefit of this dollar as a reserve currency. And there's a real argument you can make that the power of the reserve currency to let the government spend as much as they want and print and buy has actually been bad for American citizens. You can make that case. I'm not 100% certain on it, but you can make that case. The problem is what Trump wants is he wants to fuck this up and make it so that we apparently have we're exporting to everybody. They buy more from us than we have from them, but still wants the dollar to be the reserve. You cannot do that. You cannot have both. The only way For the dollar to be the reserve is for us to be an importing nation. It's the only way. It's structurally impossible. There has to be more dollars out there for this to work. So if he wants both, it will be a disaster. If the idea is that, okay, we're going to get rid of this incredible privilege of having the reserve currency and we're going to revalue our currency to make it cheaper so that American exports are more competitive, and we're going to set up tariffs to bring manufacturing back here. Okay, fine, but this is going to it's going to destroy U.S. assets. So, and Pepper might not even work, to be. It's also not going to work, but this will guaranteed happen, and then maybe we'll get some manufacturing jobs. So I just want to be clear, like this is the scary aspect of this really crazy policy. And I'm steel manning it, by the way. This is if it like had a plan. I'm steel man. I'm like, this is like your goal, you want to get. I don't think they even understand this. I'm steel manning it, but like even if they understand this, they have to know that like you can't have both.
The most favored nation newsletter.
He doesn't like the fact that when he asks why, he gets a list of regulations and blockers and high tariffs that explain why the US isn't selling more to, say, the EU.
President Trump is extremely hot under the collar over the fact that the US runs an overall trade deficit, meaning we buy more stuff from the rest of the world than the rest of the world buys from us.
They ripped off the United States, ripped off and taken advantage of. We've been ripped off. They ripped us off left and right. But now it's our turn to do the ripping.
Of all the motives underlying...
What a great way to describe it. Let's do simultaneous trade deal negotiations with 75 countries while the president says, we're going to rip you off. That's a good baseline for negotiation, bro.
Trump's trade war, this one, that other countries are ripping us off, seems like it's the most easily dismissed as being irrational.
The fact that the United States buys a lot more from others than they buy from the United States is not because we're being cheated. It's not because others are manipulating. It's not because of others have tariffs on our products. Some percentage of it is because of that.
Gregory Zuckerman is a veteran finance reporter also for the Wall Street Journal.
Most of it is just because the United States is the wealthiest country in the world. So by definition, we buy more products from others than they buy of ours. I mean, you know, I have a trade deficit with my supermarket. I buy a lot more of their products than they buy of mine. They're not buying my writing. So, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily cheating me or manipulating me or that we need to do something about it.
Speak for yourself, Gregory. I've been a victim of an unfair trade deficit with my local Kroger for years. And until they start watching this channel, then the bomb threats to their corporate email will continue.
I think the problem is that all of this globalized coordination between countries, it doesn't get my nads going.
Mark Blythe is a professor of international economics at Brown with an unquenchable thirst for rock and roll. I asked him to be my next contestant in understanding the rationale behind President Trump's amazing Technicolor trade war.
Let's think about some of the claims that are being made here.
Oh.
So Europeans have this extra tariffs on American cars. Yes, some of them are bullshit, etc. It's absolutely right. But you know why American cars don't sell in Europe? Because they're crap. Because basically, you're a light truck manufacturer. One of your best sellers is the Ford F-150. You try putting it and driving it on a street anywhere in Italy, and it would get stuck within 5 minutes.
I would love to go on a tour of Florence in my F-150.
Yeah.
Italians don't understand. They don't understand the beauty and the grace of a Ford F-150. It's a lion that's purring beneath you. It feels a bit like jealousy. It feels a bit like jealousy. I think you should be in downtown Prague, the narrow city streets, in your Ford F-150 roaring, okay? And a Hummer H2 behind you with the beer in the back.
Exactly, you get the point. Right? Most of this stuff is nonsense, just nonsense, and shouldn't be taken seriously.
However, that's right, it's however time.
I mean, a better example, Europe does have a 10% tariff on American cars because they probably would buy some American cars. They probably want to protect their car industry. But Japan is a better example because they keep talking about Japan's tariff that doesn't exist on American cars. There is no tariff. They just don't buy our cars. They just don't do it. They don't do it. They don't want them. They're incredibly good at making cars. They make cars in Japan for Japanese people. They have Toyota. They don't buy cars. And the negotiations happening right now, the Japan-America trade negotiations, the first big one. Japan is a close ally of the United States, or at least, ostensibly. And this is supposed to be the slam dunk easy trade deal. And right now they're like trying to get Japan to buy, I'm not kidding, American cars and American rice. I can't think of two things Japan wants less. They make cars, they make rice. They don't want. That is not our competitive advantage in Japan, bro. So it's a real tricky situation. Art of the deal, baby. Art of the deal.
Beneath a lot of the stuff that shouldn't be taken seriously in this trade war are two issues that folks across the political spectrum recognize as quite serious. One, the loss of American manufacturing jobs, and two, the rise of China.
As other countries like China used their cheap labor in order to increase their manufacturing, that benefited American consumers, but it hurt a lot of Americans, particularly in the industrial heartland. And not only did it hurt those workers, but in putting them out of work, it also led to kind of like the degradation of whole communities.
This degradation of American industrial communities is often referred to as China shock, or the enormous increase in Chinese imports into the United States in the 2000s, which was estimated to have cut more than 2 million American jobs. There's also evidence that in the communities hit hardest by this job loss, more people die of drugs, alcohol abuse, and by suicide, which you'll often hear referred to as deaths of despair.
100%
I mean,
true.
the really big story in the United States role was essentially saying that we are going to allow and partner with China's rise, and we're all going to benefit from that. That was kind of the permissive consensus. That begins to change basically around 2011, 2012. China has such a comparative advantage in manufacturing that they basically bulldoze everybody else. And that is when the trouble begins to hit, because once you get the China shock, this creates concentrated losses in electorally significant districts. Then it persists for a decade and a half. You get deaths of despair, all the bad stuff, and the reaction to that is part of what we're seeing now.
So trying to boost manufacturing at home is a real thing that all sorts of people think we need to be doing. For example, the Biden administration's big pieces of legislation, the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS Act, were both aimed at bringing high-value manufacturing jobs back to struggling industrial communities in industries that are going to become increasingly important. Building green infrastructure as the global economy tries to decarbonize, and building microchips as everyone uses AI to turn their dick pics into Studio Ghibli flicks. In fact, last spring, Biden himself actually imposed a sweeping set of tariffs on China, targeting $18 billion worth of goodies.
What Trump has done is to basically say, okay, my version of this, it's all in on massive tariffs, and that's going to lead to reindustrialization. So if you think that's the underlying story, and I think it's a reasonable underlying story, are tariffs one part of this?
Wait,
yes.
Is Squeaks in chat? Or what? Did they say something Squeaks related? Squeaksy poo. User Squeaks. What did he say? Oh, he's on Steam. Steam pop-up. You guys keep bringing up Squeaks when his Steam pops up. Let the man game.
Are they the only way to do this and the only step, and are massive tariffs the way to do it? Absolutely not. The thinking stops at tariffs.
And lots of folks agree with the mayor of Guitar
the
City
thinking
here.
stops at
that
tariffs?
while bringing manufacturing jobs back to hard-hit communities is a worthy goal, just applying a bunch of tariffs isn't going to achieve that. Nevertheless, we continue to crank the tariff amp to 11. That one's for you, Mark. But taking a step back, all of this chaos and uncertainty may actually be hurting the U.S. more than any of the problems we were originally trying to solve.
Those things eventually are going.
You're telling me? you're telling me that this chaos and uncertainty might be causing a global repricing in American risk assets, leading to a structural loss of American exceptionalism in the markets? That is fucking crazy. I don't believe it. Sounds like it's fake news from fired disgruntled employees. That's what it sounds like to me. That sounds like it sounds fake. You know what the problem is? We need to double the tariff.
Going to undermine, I think,
We
the
need to
role
double
of the
the fucking
dollar
tariff.
and the role of the U.S. in world affairs. I have had a lot of conversations with foreign economic officials over the last few months. All of them are completely bemused by the policies being undertaken by the current administration. They don't know how to understand them. They don't know how to predict them, and they don't know how to react to them.
That's right, Steve. Never let them know your next move. And also never let them understand your previous move.
Our reporting suggests that foreign governments and trading partners and allies don't really even understand what's on the negotiating table.
Exactly.
If it's just a case that every year he comes back asking for more and ramping up the tariffs further, it means countries have to reconsider their relationship with the US and start thinking about deepening ties elsewhere. So there are long-term consequences from the trust side of things.
One of the top priorities for Canada, for Mexico, for Europe, for China right now is to figure out how to start de-risking from the United States as much as possible, as fast as possible.
New guy is Brad DeLong, an economic historian and author of...
I mean, that is just a well-said way to put it. That's what I'm trying to get at all day today. It's like... I was going to save this for my presentation tomorrow, but I'm just going to say it now. If you are playing in a board game with somebody, let's say you're playing Monopoly, and one of the players at the table, when he looks at the board and realizes he's losing, flips the whole fucking board over and knocks all the pieces off the table and just fucks it all up. Okay? Imagine they do that. Even if you are able to collectively gather all of the pieces and put the board exactly the way it was and get it all back to normal, everybody now has to operate in a different world. They now have to understand that this player is fucking untrustworthy. This player, you can no longer rely. It doesn't matter. Even if you undo everything that's been done, even if you get rid of the tariffs and go back, it's now, you can no longer make a deal under the assumption of trust. The trust is gone. The ability to do any long-term cooperative trading actions is hurt by the fact that you could renege on them at any moment, as you've already done. Again, the deals that he is ripping up, like with, for example, Japan or the EU, are deals that he signed. They're deals that he signed. And it's not just Donald Trump's the one doing it, but they have to now structurally reconsider that they can't trust America. That whether or not he's in power, the idea is that someone else could be, and that America will not honor these previous trade deals, or they will attempt to change the deal when it's in their favor. And so they cannot, in good faith, they have to play the game differently. They simply have to play the game differently. And that is a genie you can't put back in the bottle. And that is what we're seeing here. And that is why even like whenever a tariff gets lowered or whatever, you see the market spike a little bit and then resume a downtrend, because there is a structural loss of faith. There is I cannot have my assets all in the US market. I can't have my assets in dollars or US treasuries. We need to have our central bank assets in gold or Swiss franc, or we have to get out of the system. We don't want to have to rely on it. There's too much risk, because if you give them that leverage over you, it'll be abused. That's what I'm trying to say. And that is why I feel super comfortable saying that this is the worst 100 days first 100 days of a presidency, perhaps ever. Now, there was a couple examples. There was the guy who was the president after Lincoln got shot. That guy was pretty terrible. Andrew Johnson, terrible. Could be the worst. And there was William Henry Harrison, who in his first day in office, gave a speech in the rain with no jacket, caught pneumonia, and 31 days later, he died. That's a pretty bad first 100 days. But like in terms of like shock damage to all of America, that's pretty horrendous, man. It's pretty bad. The net wealth lost by Americans, the net economic damage is severe and getting worse. And like to the point where you could undo everything. You could just get rid of all the tariffs and everything, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Of slouching towards utopia, a fickle tome that is an economic history of the 20th century. When I asked him about this sticky situation we got our hands on here, he pointed out that the chaos makes it hard to figure out the most basic things, like how real this trade war actually is.
In terms of America's role in the, global trade order, what are the impacts of this trade war that we've seen, that we've already, launched and are in many ways still launching?
First of all, it depends on whether there is actually a trade war, or whether it is the same kind of contest as a World Wrestling Federation match is, that, Donald Trump was in the ring. He went outside the ring. He picked up the chair. He waved the metal folding chair over his head, and he said, I'm going to come into the ring, and I'm going to beat you up with the chair. And so the question is, is he going to put the chair down and come back in the ring and have it be a normal wrestling match? Is he going to do it again?
I mean, that's
is he
kind of
going to
cinema.
pick up the chair and wave it around? Either way, we are in substantial trouble. My guess is we're in as much trouble as Britain was after 2016, when they exited from the European Union. But, it might be less, it might be a bunch more.
Meanwhile, the vibes inside of the U.S. right now are, frankly, suboptimal. Consumer sentiment is plunging, with Americans' uncertainty about the country's economic future eclipsing levels last seen during the COVID pandemic. Both market and anecdotal evidence suggests that the U.S. is not seen as a safe haven for investment that it's been for decades. A role that lets us do fun stuff, like run an enormous budget deficit and build military bases wherever we want. And while some small business owners are celebrating the opportunity that tariffs provide them, others that rely on Chinese manufacturing are starting to panic. Some are even starting to sue. All this for a potentially devastating trade war with a country that's not just going to roll over on this one.
Where does it end? See, China's not actually this little kid that could be punched around anymore. They've been diverting away from the US as much as humanly possible into third country markets. They dominate in green tech sectors. I mean, in the sense of bring it, bitch. Let's see who's actually got the cojones here.
Is it almost an impossible task to try and predict where we're going to go from here?
Yeah, it's nearly impossible to try to get in ahead of Donald Trump and people around him to anticipate where things are going. Things could turn on a dime. They could cut some trade deals and reassure markets, and we get back to maybe some semblance of normalcy pretty quickly. And yet the average kind of sophisticated investor taking a step back, or economist and such, realizes that we're in a new world and it's uncharted territory. We haven't really experienced.
Yeah. Again, this is I'm pre-doing my presentation here, but I do want to say this. I'm going to say it again. Is that one through line to all this news lately is that we are really in a new world, and Donald Trump didn't cause this; he accelerated this. But the world that existed post World War II, you could almost say Liberation Day is the end of it. We're in a different era. We are now in a new world. Everything is changing, and the next 5 years are going to change. Alliances will change. Things that people that we never thought would work together will work together. Things that we never thought would fight each other will fight each other. We are in an insane new world with a new global order that's yet to be written. It's just interesting. It's nobody likes living through history, but you don't get a choice. You are going to structurally live through a vastly different, vastly upheaval time, a time where things change very quickly compared to previous decades.
This before, where the United States is taking a step back globally, no longer perhaps the leader when it comes to free markets. I mean, I work at the Wall Street Journal. Our motto is free markets and free people. Well, free markets are under assault right now. So how do we think about the world? It's an interesting time. It's a stimulating time intellectually, but it's also disturbing and even scary.
Interesting, stimulating, disturbing, and even scary. Normally, that's a quatrain that gets me going, folks. But right now, as our country sets sail into uncharted trade waters, guided by a cats-loving, hip-firing captain of chaos, I gotta admit, I'm feeling a little queasy. It's a choppy economic sea we're setting sail into, but all I know is that you and me, throwing up over the bow of this rusty old sloop, CNBC ringing from the loudspeakers on the bridge, seagulls cawing into the air, and the spray of salt penetrating our nostrils? Well, no matter what, I'll be there holding your hair back for every step this ship takes. And that's a promise.
Okay.
All right. For good work, I'm Dan Toomey.
Beautiful Italian. At F with the blare of your 5-liter.
This is the F-150M. Anyway, good video, good discussion, good interesting stuff, interesting stuff. Very interesting. Happy birthday. Thank you. Oh, quick non-economic discussion. So for my birthday, Lud got me and the boys tickets to a Lakers game, the first playoff game. And I would thank him, but they lost. So no, it was fun. We had me, Mango, Stans, Lud all went and cheered our hearts out. And the Lakers got fucking owned. Completely fucking owned. Truly destroyed. And by the third quarter, Mango had his head in his hands and wasn't even watching the game. He just said, "It's over. It's over." He was drunk, too. Fucking drunk. It's over. It's over. So doesn't matter, because now I'm going to go back with my dad tomorrow and make it happen. Get a big fucking win.
Now.
No. If a wizard told you you're a bad luck charm and any game you go to the Lakers will lose, would you stop going? Well, I've been to, I don't know, 4 Lakers games and they won 3. So this wizard, he's a bad spell. He's a bad spell. But if it was true, then I wouldn't go. Of course, I want them to win. I'm not gonna, it's not even fun going when they lose. It's like, Um, did you see this? What's this? No. Trump sold trading cards on Easter? Oh, yeah. This is actually... Look at this, dude. This is me holding up the Charizard with the boys. That's fucking fire. That's PSA 10, dude. It's the picture of the assassination attempt on a trading card. He's shilling it to the kids. Bro, okay, the real Batman guy, you spam this like 100 times. It's not that funny. I don't know what to tell you. I get it. Do you think Trump is crashing the dollar so everyone has to move their money to Trump coin? You can make Trump coin. I get your joke, but you spam it like 600 fucking times. I can't play off of it. It's not that funny. Please, dude. Fucking take a hint. My God. Oh, good. Now everyone's saying it. That's good. Should I bring my dad on here? What else? I mean, I have so much I want to talk about. I feel like I'm. We can talk about fucking PDH, our great defense secretary. But, I feel like everyone knows, you know? He did another Sigma group chat. He's a fucking dumbass. I don't know if there's anything new to say. Have you talked about the Harvard Trump lawsuit? No, not really. I don't know what happened. It's only funny if you have the clip of him talking about Hillary's emails. That's what makes it funny. Does anyone have that clip? If you have that clip, it makes it actually pretty funny. Like it all lines up. I guess what's interesting, I haven't read the op-ed yet, but we could pull that up. Where is that? Is this it? Yeah, from John Uliat. So this guy was the chief Pentagon spokesman and led communications at the National Security Council, Department of Veterans Affairs in Donald Trump's first term. He resigned from the Pentagon last week. I think he's a diehard Trump guy. Oh, thanks for the gifties. He resigned last week and wrote this op-ed where he basically said that there's a total collapse inside the Pentagon, that everyone is resigning, that his leadership is horrendous. I mean, this is a guy who, the guy writing this is like diehard Trump. Okay. He just worked at the Pentagon for years, was appointed by Trump. And, he said, yeah, there's these strange and baffling purges. They have a habit of spreading flat out, easily debunked falsehoods anonymously about their colleagues on the way out the door. And again, he had a second Signal group chat leak, which again is a problem on its own, but it's just funny in light of him saying, were this to ever happen, the person should be fired instantly. That's like what he said during, you got the clip?
Any security professional, military, government, or otherwise, would be fired.
Actually looked like a young JD Vance.